Howdy folks, this is Big Sam. Today I've got a real treat for you. We're going to be attempting to clean out this old dirty Mosin barrel. Now in particular what we're looking at here today is a stepped barrel. As you can see here, it's got this step. Now whenever you see that, you automatically should think Finnish Mosin. Now this isn't super common to see. This is more of on the uncommon scale of things. They did a few different models with a stepped barrel, and generally these are going to be your Civil Guard rifles whenever you see this. Now if we take a look at the barrel markings here, we can see this is in fact a Civil Guard rifle. We have our Civil Guard shield right here. And we have, if I flip it over, a Finnish Civil Guard district code on it, which is pretty cool. So this one is interesting and not common, but unfortunately the inside of it is extremely dirty, really horrible looking. And you can't really get a good view of it from here, but I'll tell you what, we're going to take a closer look on the inside of this rascal, and you're going to see what it is that I'm talking about. I'll show you just a little quick video of what it kind of looks like, but also what we're going to do real quick is we're going to go through a little bit of an endoscope through this rascal. Now this one's pretty good. This one's from China, as you could imagine. This is a Depths Tech. And one of the problems with technology and our limitations with these endoscopes as of when this was filmed in 2022, it's really hard to get a good, cost-effective one of these that is a small enough diameter to fit through a 30 caliber bore. And in particular, this one does not. But it'll still go through the chamber, so we can at least get a pretty good idea of what it is we're dealing with. And it's got a light on it, so it's cool. And if you have a firearm with a larger caliber than this, 30 caliber barrel we're looking at here today, this would probably work just fine for you. But if you got like a 30 caliber or 22 or something, you're going to be a bit limited in what you can do. Okay, so this doesn't look too bad on the outside, but let's take a closer look on the inside, because it is a different story altogether, folks. So first of all, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the rifling on this here rascal. I got my light shining on the other end, and as you can see, well, he definitely has rifling in there. I want to blind y'all because that light is on the lowest setting and it's still pretty bright, but as you can see, yeah, there is some nastiness in there, folks. Let's take a look at the endoscope now. Alright, so the frames per second aren't very good, but we're going to go in here, so bear with me. Now see, you can see already there's all sorts of horrible... It's kind of hard to tell if this is rust or grease. I kind of think this is just really dried grease, personally. Again, there's our barrel markings. So this one's wide enough where it'll go into the chamber and you can see, okay, that's the profile of the cartridge, and then it'll stop there. Because that's when the rifling starts, and that's when the diameter shrinks to be smaller than the diameter of our endoscope, unfortunately. But we can get a good idea that there's some really not good things in this barrel that need to be cleaned out. Let's take a look at the other side of things. All right, so here is the front, and this one's interesting because it actually goes down quite a far ways, which is counterintuitive. And it'll go all the way down to right there where it stops, and that's because this barrel is very counterbored. So this is a cool example of counterboring where you can actually see that it's substantially wider such that it'll accommodate our endoscope, but once it hits the rifling, just like we saw on the business end, it don't. It's dirty, folks. All right, so how are we actually going to go about cleaning this? Well, we're going to need a few things. First of all, we're going to need a lubricant. Now here I've got my trusty can of Ballistol, little spray can here. You just press this nozzle and it just sprays in. Really handy stuff. This is what I also use to clean up after shooting black powder. Now, how many of y'all would like to see a video of Big Sam shooting black powder through a Mosin? That would be weird. Remember, your Mosin, if you have one, chances are, especially if it's older, like pre-World War II, they probably ran a black powder test through the factory, so it would probably already had it through it once at least, but maybe we'll do it again. Let me know if y'all like to see that. But anyway, back to what we're talking about today. I gotta have my lubricant, so I'm gonna go ahead and spray some, and I'm tilted downward slightly, so that's good. It's gonna go down barrel, nothing too crazy, just a little bit in there. And then what I'm gonna do next is I've got my really nice carbon fiber cleaning rod. Now this is good because it's not going to scratch up the barrel or the bore or anything. And then I've got my brass. Let me twist this off here so you can see it. This is my trusty brass brush. See that? And I got to thread it on here. So everything on here is going to be brass or bronze or carbon fiber or plastic. And I like that because none of that's going to harm the gun in any way. And because this one's a little bit dirtier, the specific brush we're using today is actually not a 30 caliber brush, which is sort of what you normally use. It's actually a little bit oversized, 35 caliber / 9 millimeters, what it's advertised as. And I like using oversized brass brushes for something like this because it really does a little bit better job of giving us a little more friction to clean out everything. So that's really what we're looking for here today. So I got my 9mm brush and I've sprayed it down. So I'm going to go ahead and put it through a bunch of times. And you're going to see how many times you need to do this if your gun is dirty. And then lastly, I've got my extra attachment here, which has a little poke on it. And you need the poke, which as you can see right there. See that poke right there? Yeah. You need that poke for your cleaning patches, which is phase 2. But we're on phase 1 right now. Now this is nice because I got the barrel set up here in a vise, so it's not going to move around on me when I'm pushing back and forth, hopefully. Let's see. All right, here we go. Pass 1. Ooh. It feels dirty, folks, and you saw a bunch of horribleness just came out of the barrel. I don't really want to breathe that in. Maybe I should be wearing a respirator. Pull it back out. Oh, man. And I can already see all this nastiness building up on the cleaning rod after one pass. And our brush is already looking dirty. So, it's a little bit easier to pull it out because you see it's so long that I have to kind of come all the way over here, but we're going to do our best to make this work. Back in. Ooh. This is dirty, folks. What is coming out of there? It's like tuberculosis is emanating from my Mosin barrel. And I don't think I should be breathing it. Come on, baby. I don't know if that sound's picking up very well on the camera, but it sounds pretty horrible. That is the sound of one dirty Mosin barrel, folks. Oh yes. That brush is really doing its job. That is what I'm talking about. We'll go ahead and put a little bit more lubricant in there. Alright, we're going to center again. Makes it go a little bit easier. And it helps free up a lot of that gunk that's been seized up in there since, I don't know, the Finnish Continuation War, maybe? Which is famous for being quite a long time ago. So we got a lot of junk to clean out. Now, history has a good and a bad side. The good kind of history is this barrel. The bad kind of history is what's accumulated within this barrel. All right. Come on, baby. If any of y'all wonder how I get my daily exercise in, it's from cleaning out old rusty Mosins like this guy right here. If you're wondering why I keep continuing to do back and forth like this over and over, my experience has been when you have really dirty Mosin barrels, whenever you think you're done, that's when you need about 10 or 20 more passes. Because that's usually what it takes to make any sort of appreciable difference. We're cleaning her up good, folks. And sometimes when you're cleaning, you'll notice that you'll be having to push a lot harder and harder and harder to get it through the barrel, right? But then right about here on this guy, it becomes a lot easier. It's not out of the barrel yet, but remember, that's because it's counterbored to about right here. So the rifling only goes there, so once it hits here, it's free. And then this last section, there's really no friction because it's a lot wider. All right. Now you keep doing this, and I tell you what, I have worn out countless numbers of brushes just from these old dirty Mosin barrels. A lot of these, when they were imported from Finland or back from the Spanish Civil War, what have you, they were nasty. I think a lot of the imports from like the Ukraine, the refurb guns, a lot of those seem to fare better. But I think certainly at least they would have had a lot of cosmoline in them when they're imported. These guys may have had cosmoline, but it dried up into this dry goop of doom, is what I'm calling it. Come on, baby. All right. All right, so I think we're going to call that. Now, it's so nasty, I'm going to show you this. This used to be a light color. Now, the brush is turned completely black. That's a good thing. That means it's doing its job. That is nasty, folks. That is nasty. So I'm going to take, at this point what I like to do is take an oversized wipe like this, and I wipe down the entire cleaning rod. And see, when I do that, it's all black. It's really horrible because it'll accumulate on the cleaning rod because it's going to be touching the side of the barrel as you're going along. But remember, that's okay because it's carbon fiber. It's not going to scratch your gun at all. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and look through and see how that's looking. Well, it's kind of hard to say because I don't have the light on. It looks better. But how much better? Well, that's where phase 2 comes into play. So I'm going to take off my brush attachment, put on my impalement device here, as you can see, which is going to let me put on my cleaning patches, like this. Everybody's got their own little quirks and ways they like to do things, and that's fine. This is kind of how I do these things, and it's worked pretty well for me. Now, before we go any further, though, let me put this guy on here, and I want to show you something. Check this out. This is pretty nasty, so I'm going to take my glove off here to show you this, but I think you'll get a kick out of this. All right. So take a look at this. That's what came out of the barrel. That's all. See all that tuberculosis That's not good. I don't want to breathe that in. But if that comes out of your Mosin barrel, it was dirty, folks, and it needed a proper cleaning. So we're at least going in the right direction here. Okay. So now we're back here again. I'm going to get my glove back on. And then we're going to get to business here. And these are kind of hard to get on. It'd be nice if they made fingerless latex gloves, but you know, I guess that would kind of defeat the point of latex gloves, wouldn't it? Okay. Well, that's okay. That's good enough for now, right? So I've got my patch here. Let's go ahead and get this guy rolling. And we're going to see when this patch comes out the other end, how bad is it going to look. My prediction is, and it's not going to be good. All right, so here goes nothing. Yeah, that's not good. Look at that. I love it. All right, well, let's send a few more down. All right, a few more. Now, how many patches do you put down in phase 2 like this? Well, really depends on your gun. It's kind of at your own discretion, but usually what's best is to keep looking at each patch that comes out and watch it. And you can ask yourself, is it getting any better? Is this substantially better than when I started? And if not, then it might be wise to just proceed and keep doing it. But if you come to the point where you put, 10 or 20 patches through your gun, and each one still looks really horrible, that might be an indication that either you want to go with another brush again, or what can also help is actually, once you've verified the gun's good and safe and ready to shoot, and there are no obstructions in the bore or anything, actually go shoot it while it's dirty, because it'll heat, the firing it a few times will really heat it up, and then as it's warm, you want to immediately then clean it, right? If you go to the range, and you shoot it, and then you drive back to your house after like 30 minutes and then you clean it, and it doesn't really help you. It's best to take that equipment with you to the range close by and have it on hand. But shooting it can help as well. Alrighty. Let's send us another one, folks. Come on, baby. Alright. And how are we looking? Well, we're looking a little bit better than when we started. Now, some of these I'll lubricate. The first one I lubricated, and then the following ones I didn't. And after a while, I like to lubricate one again every so often. That also helps me get a better gauge, because when you lubricate it, it's going to look a lot dirtier when it comes out than when it's not lubricated. That's because it ends up picking up all the horribleness there. Ooh, yeah. Well, I've seen worse, but that's kind of depressing that I can say that with a straight face. Okay. Let's send another one, and then we'll go ahead and check our work here. I can definitely still feel a little bit of resistance in the rifling, but it feels a lot better than when we started. All right. Well, I think what I'm going to do now is we'll get the light on here, and then I'll show you the progress we've made so far. All right, so once again, we're here at our chamber end of things, and check that out, folks. That looks about 1,000 times better. Now, if you get up close, kind of hard to see on the camera, there's definitely still some junk kind of in the grooves. So I think at this point, if I wanted to continue cleaning this, I would get one more brush, and then I would send it through about 20 more times. throw in some more patches, and then I would take it out to the range. Now, of course, you'll notice on this guy, we can't really do that because he's not currently attached to a receiver. But everything I've shown here today, you can do on your Mosin. That, folks, though, looks way better than when we started. All right, so now you know how to clean a really, really dirty Mosin barrel, and hopefully in the process you don't catch tuberculosis like we saw there at the business end of things. So I hope y'all found this useful. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing if you like more cool Mosin to Got content like this. Let me know if y'all got any prayer requests, and we'll see you next time.